What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So it is September, and today I want to talk a little bit about, is Google search becoming worse? So this is one of these, and I also want to talk about the 10-year generational shifts. So is Google search becoming worse? This is something that I've been thinking a little bit about. And then I sort of start to look at it more as, well, the more humans expand their borders of ignorance, the less eventually they will have to search for, because they will just go directly to the source of what it is they are looking for. Like, they will have a direct access. They don't have to go through a third party like Google to get to the source, because they already have direct access to the source. Can be videos, can be text, can be images, whatever. But they are eventually gonna find what they're searching for, and then they're gonna go to those places instead. So in a way, I would say Google search actually is becoming worse. I don't really see that it has, just because you have all these the companies now that have like the biggest incentive to get on Google is companies that are basically making money. So they're getting smarter over time, while users and people that used to create a lot of websites, they're mainly now just going to the source. Instead of maybe creating something themselves, maybe they can consume it from an expert that is doing something. So the companies that are making these pseudo websites and like having like these pseudo articles and like pseudo videos, many websites are trying to make their own YouTube now, many news websites, a lot of paywalls, a lot of nonsense, and they have the biggest incentive to be on Google right now. So it's not that much about the best information. So I would say, yeah, it does make sort of this effect of Google search is in many ways becoming worse. But I also think that it is going to be on a evolutionary step forward, where when people directly go to the source, it doesn't really matter that much if Google is becoming worse, because people just go instantly to the place they want, to the place that gives the most value, some blockchain platform or whatever, eventually. And then we have this aspect of the 10-year generation shifts, where you always have, this is kind of like the funny thing about the world, you always, every like 10 years or so, you always have a new generation coming in that are looking at things different, or maybe they are just, maybe you have a lot of good information that came out earlier, and always that's the case, right? But people tend to forget, because people want something in a fresh flavor that is being created today. They want relevant stuff, they want fresh stuff. So even if something happened in the past and we already have gone over some knowledge or whatever, like the new generations, they don't know about that. They don't know that people talked about stuff in the past. So each generation sort of wants their own sort of experience of things, and sort of wants their own life in many ways. So you can have a lot of amazing services, amazing websites, but each 10 years, if the new generation doesn't like it and they want their own sort of thing, even if you're creating something better, maybe they want their own thing, right? Then they sort of gonna do stuff all over again in many ways. And people sort of tend to forget that aspect, that life goes on. That when you're using the internet in many ways, you're sort of thinking in many ways, I think that a lot of people are looking at what I'm looking at right now, but most people are doing something else probably. So it's very interesting when you get these generational shifts of humans, how how they're going to come in many ways with, or they should come in with sort of fresh perspective, and that they will move to new technologies, and that change sort of is good. So Google. Quite stagnant. Quite stagnant. For example, when people have direct access to source, they really do not like distractions popping up in their face. With YouTube, they're sort of okay with it because you're still getting a lot of value. But with a lot of other stuff, you're not really getting that much value. So you're sort of creating, or you're sort of trying to create this internet of direct access to the source. And what is, if you consider, let's say, birds flying in the air, what is the fastest way to go somewhere? It's like the straight path, not like going boom 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 boom. And that this using Google is kind of like boom 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 boom. It's a path that is not the fastest path. So the internet sort of is striving towards go straight to the source, like go instantly to the source, and also have value systems that also is working the same way, where they're going straight to where they should instantly. No like lag, no delay. It's kind of like video games. You want everything to happen in real time. And that is sort of how you want information also. Go directly to the source. Remove all the distractions, all the annoying stuff, all the stuff that's really not that much needed. And this is going to be cool to see this evolution. For example, I want more the ability in all sort of chat systems. I want to be able to say something with my voice and that it types that out into text. I want better automated systems in terms of, let's take an Instagram. Maybe you want 100 accounts. Maybe you want accounts with just 100 followers. Maybe you want a private Instagram that can low-key talk to people, send messages to people by scanning what they are doing and maybe say hi or something like that. And then maybe I want that AI to see if someone wants to follow an account and then put up rules for sometimes they are allowed to follow. And just automate the whole entertainment structure at the same time as everyone is getting what they want. At the same time as you're providing more value. Internet needs to become more advanced, more sophisticated. Because doing things manually, do we really have to do things manually? If we can provide the same value, but just automate a lot of repetitive tasks, that's amazing. That is where stuff should be heading. Direct access to the source. Automated advertising. Amazing earning systems. That is win-win on all sides. Basically abundance. Abundance of information, abundance of earnings, digital tokens, right? It really comes down to how can you make everything cheaper. Literally everything cheaper. And someone may say, wait a sec. I'm gonna be earning less. But you will have volume. If something is cheap, a lot of people can get involved. So that levels out the smaller earnings. Because when let's say you can have a high earning systems, but less people can get involved because it's expensive. But if everything is cheap, you can get scale. You can scale something. And that is where it should be heading. So, and even then, let's say, yeah, maybe someone would be getting less, but even then you can just appeal to more people to level things out. And then, not only that, but that you are also having access to cheaper goods and services eventually. That's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. So yeah, I would say Google is getting worse, or it's not providing as much value as it did in the past. But Google also at the same time, they were smart. They got involved into YouTube. They bought YouTube. So they sort of know that that video is the future. That's why they probably do not care that much about tech stuff anymore. Or you could say they care, but if I go to Google, if I use them, the results that pops up and everything, it doesn't really seem like they care about the quality of the websites or anything. But with YouTube that they bought, they sort of have a good win-win scenario where people are getting the value that they want, advertisers are getting the value that they want, and it sort of works. So yeah, Google's getting worse, I would say. It's interesting to look at the generational shifts that happens every 10 years or so, and how the same sort of topics pop up for each new generation, and how people want exotic experiences that sort of fits into their time period in many ways. Like relevant information, or like fresh information that is sort of looking at the current landscape, that is massive value. That is like something that people usually do not consider that much, like how much value it is to have fresh information that is produced today. That is not like, if you write like a blog post or something like that, it is instantly old. But I would say if it's video, even if it's a video, even a couple of days later, even a year later, in many ways it can be very fresh. While most of the other stuff is just, it's already old. The cool thing with video is it really helps build up this direct access system. So yeah, so that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and the Steam blockchain. Bye bye.